Every small excuse, every tough moment, if you let them stop you, you're giving up your chance to win. The truth is, the most successful people don't have easier lives. They've just learned how to push through, no matter what. Picture yourself moving forward with steady steps, no more quitting, no more waiting, just full control over your actions. In a few moments, I'll show you how to train your mind to keep going even when it's hard, so you stop holding yourself back and start reaching your goals. Because once you learn this skill, nothing and no one will be able to stop you from winning. Begin before you are ready. Victory is not the reward of those who wait for perfect conditions. The world never clears a smooth path for us. It does not pause to offer ideal circumstances or guarantee success before we take the first step. We are handed only this moment, imperfect, uncertain, raw. This is the truth that separates those who move forward from those who remain frozen in anticipation. If you wait for the right time, you'll watch the years slip through your fingers. You will grow old waiting for a signal that never arrives, a readiness that never settles into your bones. The only way forward is to step into the unknown before comfort arrives. The path reveals itself only to those willing to walk it. Courage is not found in certainty. It is born in the act of moving forward when every instinct urges you to hold back. True bravery lives in the trembling moment before action, in the breath taken before the leap. Those who wait for confidence to appear are left behind by those who act despite trembling hands and uncertain hearts. Confidence does not precede action, it follows it. To begin is to take control. It is to declare that you will no longer be held captive by the illusion of perfect timing. The hardest battles are not with others, but with our own hesitation. Every day we choose between movement and stagnation, between growth and the slow decay of unfulfilled potential. In the end, starting before you are ready is not recklessness. It is trust in your ability to adapt, to learn, and to become more than you were yesterday. It is faith in the person you are becoming. No one who changed their life ever felt fully prepared at the outset. Every great journey began with doubt, with questions unanswered and outcomes unknown. The beginning demands that we force ourselves to act, even when doubt shadows our every step. It asks us to believe in motion itself, to trust the process of becoming. Once you cross the threshold, you discover that readiness is a myth and progress is the only truth. The moment you begin, you realize that preparation was never the goal, transformation was. The first victory is not over the world, but over the inner voice that whispers, "Not yet." That voice speaks from fear, not wisdom. It mistakes comfort for safety and hesitation for prudence. Conquer that voice, and you have already won. Silence it once, and you learn it can be silenced again. Begin before you are ready, and discover that you were ready all along. Stand firm when doubt calls. The strongest storms arise not in the world, but in the mind. The tempests that threaten to undo us do not come from external forces alone. They are born within, fed by our own thoughts and fears. Doubt comes cloaked in reason, whispering all the ways we might fail, all the reasons we should turn back. It speaks in a voice that sounds like wisdom but carries the weight of fear. This voice grows loudest when we approach the edge of our old limits, tempting us to return to safety. It knows exactly when we are most vulnerable, when we stand at the threshold of transformation. But safety breeds stagnation. The comfort we seek becomes the cage that confines us. We must meet doubt not with argument, but with resolve. We must answer its whispers not with words, but with unwavering presence. Standing firm means holding your ground when the winds howl. It means refusing to retreat when every fiber of your being urges you to flee. It is looking your uncertainty in the eye and refusing to yield. This is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it. Each time you endure the assault of doubt without flinching, you lay another stone in the foundation of an unshakable will. These stones accumulate over time, building something greater than any single moment of courage. The world will test your confidence, and your mind will echo its questions, but only you decide whether to bend or to hold fast. The choice is always yours, made fresh with every challenge. No one else can make this stand for you. No one else can decide what you will become. Those who succeed are not untouched by doubt. They simply refuse to bow before it. They have learned that doubt is not a sign of weakness, but a companion to all meaningful endeavor. They know that every meaningful pursuit is shadowed by uncertainty. Greatness and doubt walk the same path, the difference lies in who leads. Each time you stand firm in the storm, you prove to yourself that fear has no dominion. You demonstrate that the voice of doubt holds only the power you grant it. And with each stand, you grow stronger until doubt itself becomes just another challenge to be overcome. It transforms from a paralyzing force into a familiar obstacle, one you have conquered before and will conquer again. Stand firm when doubt calls and watch as your resolve becomes unbreakable. Win the battle within. No enemy is more relentless than the one inside. This adversary knows your every weakness, your every fear, your every moment of vulnerability. It has studied you since the day you drew your first breath. The mind invents obstacles, fans the flames of old regrets, and magnifies every fear. It takes small concerns and transforms them into towering walls. It whispers reminders of past failures at the precise moment you need confidence most. Most live as prisoners to their inner turmoil, allowing moods, impulses, and passing feelings to dictate the day. They wake at the mercy of whatever emotion greets them, surrendering their power to forces they believe they cannot control. They drift through their hours, reacting rather than choosing, victims of their own unexamined thoughts. But mastery belongs to those who declare war on their own chaos. It belongs to those who refuse to accept the tyranny of undisciplined thinking. The moment you recognize this internal enemy, you have already taken the first step toward victory. The moment you decide to fight, you have already begun to win. The battle within is fought in the quiet hours, when you choose to act with purpose instead of drifting, when you keep your word to yourself, when you silence the internal critic and press on. These are the moments no one sees, the decisions that leave no visible mark upon the world, yet they are the very foundation of everything you will become. This battle is waged in the space between intention and action, in the breath before you rise or fall back into old patterns. It is fought when you honor your commitments to yourself even when no one is watching, even when breaking them would go unnoticed by the world. True victory is not the defeat of others, but the conquest of one's own weaknesses. External triumphs mean nothing if you remain enslaved to your own limitations. The trophies of the world ring hollow when held by hands that tremble at their own shadows. Each time you rise above distraction, each time you resist temptation, each time you break through fatigue, you win another battle. These victories may seem small in isolation, but they accumulate into something far greater than any single triumph. They build upon one another, creating momentum that carries you forward, even when willpower alone would fail. The person who masters these quiet battles becomes unstoppable, for they have conquered the only opponent who could ever truly defeat them. The world's greatest achievements begin with the smallest victories: waking before dawn, refusing to complain, controlling a harsh word, finishing what you started. These acts require no audience, no applause, no recognition from others. They are performed in solitude, witnessed only by your own conscience. They are the choices that shape character when no one else is looking. Choosing discipline over comfort, choosing silence over reaction, choosing persistence over surrender. These are the building blocks of an extraordinary life. The chain of these unseen victories forms the armor of the unstoppable. Link by link, day by day, this armor grows stronger. It becomes the protection that shields you from doubt, from criticism, from the inevitable storms that life will send. Each small victory adds another layer, another degree of resilience that cannot be taken from you. This armor is forged not in dramatic moments of public triumph, but in the private crucible of daily choices. In the end, the only true rival is the self that wants to settle. It is the voice that urges comfort over growth, ease over excellence, the familiar over the possible. This rival knows exactly how to tempt you, exactly what words will weaken your resolve. It offers rest when you should push forward, excuses when you should take responsibility, blame when you should accept the weight of your own choices. Force yourself to win that battle, and no outside force can ever defeat you. Conquer the self that seeks the easy path, and you will have defeated the only enemy capable of stopping your rise. Win the battle within, and the battles without become mere formalities on your path to greatness. Push through when no one sees. Greatness is forged in solitude. It is shaped in the quiet moments when you stand alone with your ambitions and your doubts. The furnace that tempers extraordinary souls burns not before crowds, but in empty rooms where only you bear witness to your own becoming. When the world is watching, discipline comes easy. The presence of others lifts us, holds us accountable, pushes us to perform at our best. We rise to meet the expectations of those who observe, finding strength in their gaze and motivation in their judgment. But when the lights are low and no eyes are upon you, your true strength is revealed. This is when the mask falls away and you meet yourself without pretense. This is when you discover who you really are beneath the performance you offer the world. The temptation to relax, to slacken your efforts, to settle for good enough creeps in during these unseen hours. It whispers that no one will know the difference, that cutting corners carries no consequence when there is no one to witness your choices. It promises comfort in exchange for compromise, rest in exchange for retreat from your own standards. Most surrender. They accept the bargain, trading their potential for momentary ease. They tell themselves they will try harder tomorrow, that one lapse means nothing in the grand scheme of things. But each surrender makes the next one easier, until mediocrity becomes habit. The few who persist build an advantage no applause can give. They accumulate strength that cannot be taken, cannot be diminished, cannot be questioned because it was earned in the only arena that truly matters. Pushing through when no one sees is the truest test of character. It is the measure that separates those who merely desire greatness from those who are willing to pay its price. It means doing the work in silence, knowing that the reward may be distant or may never come at all. It means continuing when there is no promise of recognition, no guarantee that your efforts will be acknowledged or celebrated. The work becomes its own purpose, the discipline its own reward. It is grinding through fatigue, holding fast to your standards, and giving your all simply because you refuse to betray yourself. This is the deepest commitment one can make, the covenant between who you are and who you are becoming. When you honor this commitment in the dark, you prove that your standards are not performances for others, but truths you live by. You demonstrate that your integrity does not depend on witnesses, that your excellence does not require an audience. This is the foundation upon which all lasting achievement is built. The world celebrates visible victories, but the secret triumphs are won in the dark. The accolades go to those who cross finish lines and stand on podiums, but the races are won long before the crowds gather. They are won in pre-dawn hours when sleep calls and comfort beckons. They are won in the countless repetitions no one counts, the preparations no one applauds, the sacrifices no one sees. Each moment you choose effort over comfort when no one is keeping score, you separate yourself from the masses. You step onto a path that fewer and fewer will walk with you. You become someone who doesn't just perform when it's easy, but wins when it's hardest. You become the person who shows up not for recognition, but for the simple truth that this is who you are. That is the mark of a true champion. Not the trophy held high, but the countless hours spent earning it in silence. Not the moment of glory, but the mountain of unseen work that made that moment possible. And it is in these silent struggles that your legend is written. The story the world will never fully know, the private battles, the quiet victories, the relentless persistence when giving up would have been so much easier. Push through when no one sees, and you will become unstoppable when everyone is watching. Build strength from setbacks. Setbacks are the world's way of asking how badly you want what you claim to desire. They are the tests that separate the committed from the merely interested, the devoted from the dreamers. Every obstacle placed in your path carries within it a question that only your actions can answer. Most see failure as a sign to quit. They interpret resistance as rejection, as though the universe were telling them to abandon their course. They retreat at the first sign of difficulty, convinced that the presence of struggle means they have chosen the wrong path. The wise see it as a signal to adapt, to grow, to return stronger. They understand that resistance is not rejection but refinement. They recognize that the path worth walking is never the one cleared of all obstacles. Each obstacle is an invitation to rise, to forge new resolve, and to shape a character that cannot be broken. Every setback carries hidden within it the seeds of something greater than what you sought before. It offers the chance to discover reserves of strength you never knew you possessed, to develop capabilities that comfort would never have demanded of you. The person who emerges from failure is never the same person who entered it. They are forged into something stronger, tempered by the very fires that threaten to consume them. Pain reveals our weaknesses so that we may conquer them. It illuminates the cracks in our foundation, the gaps in our armor, the places where we must direct our attention and effort. Without pain, we would never know where we need to grow. Without failure, we would never discover the limits we must push beyond. Every disappointment, every loss, every fall is a lesson in disguise. These experiences arrive dressed as enemies but serve as teachers to those wise enough to learn from them. They show us not only where we failed but why we failed, not only what went wrong but what must be made right. The only real failure is refusing to rise again. It is not the fall that defines defeat, it is the decision to remain on the ground. As long as you draw breath, as long as you possess the will to stand once more, no setback is final. Every ending carries within it the possibility of a new beginning for those with the courage to claim it. Use the sting of defeat as fuel. Let the memory of falling burn within you as motivation to climb higher. Transform frustration into focus. Channel the energy of disappointment into the concentrated effort that will carry you forward. Do not waste these powerful emotions on bitterness or self-pity. Harness them, direct them, make them serve your purpose. Let each setback harden your resolve instead of softening your ambition. Allow adversity to strengthen your commitment rather than weaken it. The fires that threaten to destroy you can instead forge you into something unbreakable, if only you refuse to let them consume your will. History remembers not those who never stumbled, but those who refused to stay down. The stories that inspire across generations are not tales of effortless success, but narratives of persistence through crushing defeat. The names we honor are not those who walked easy paths, but those who carved their way through mountains of opposition. You cannot avoid hardship, but you can refuse to let it define you. Difficulty will find you no matter which path you choose, no matter how carefully you plan or how diligently you prepare. This is the nature of any life worth living. But you hold the power to decide what that hardship will mean, whether it will become your excuse or your fuel, your prison or your proving ground. Those who build strength from setbacks become unmovable, unyielding, and unstoppable. They have faced the worst that life can offer and emerged not broken but fortified. They have learned that they can survive what they once feared would destroy them. This knowledge becomes an armor that nothing can pierce, a confidence that nothing can shake. They walk through the world knowing that whatever comes, they have already proven their ability to rise. The world bows to those who make adversity their ally. It yields to those who have transformed their wounds into wisdom, their failures into foundations. Build strength from setbacks, and you will become a force that no obstacle can withstand, no defeat can diminish, and no hardship can break. Discipline, the armor of champions. Success does not arrive by wish or luck. It does not descend upon the hopeful simply because they desire it or dream of it in their quiet moments. The universe does not reward longing, it rewards action, consistency, and the patient accumulation of effort over time. It is built brick by brick, day by day, through the relentless pursuit of order over chaos. This is the truth that separates those who achieve from those who merely aspire. Greatness is not a sudden gift, but a gradual construction, assembled through countless small decisions made in favor of progress over comfort. Most wait for motivation. They believe that the feeling must arrive before the action can begin. They sit idle, hoping for inspiration to strike like lightning, to fill them with the energy and enthusiasm they believe necessary to move forward. The few who win understand that it is routine, not mood, that creates greatness. They have discovered the secret that eludes the masses. Motivation is unreliable, fleeting, and beyond our control. But routine is a choice we make fresh each day. They do not wait to feel ready, they act, and readiness follows. Each repeated act, each small promise kept, weaves an armor that nothing can pierce. This armor is not forged in dramatic moments of triumph, but in the quiet repetition of daily commitments honored. It grows stronger with every choice to show up, every decision to continue when stopping would be easier. Every morning you rise to meet your purpose regardless of how you feel. True masters of their craft do not rise and fall with the weather of their emotions. They have learned to separate their actions from their feelings, to move forward even when every fiber of their being urges rest. They understand that emotions are visitors, not commanders. They come and go, but the work remains constant. They have learned to act regardless of feeling. This is the discipline that sets them apart from those who achieve only in bursts, who produce only when the mood strikes, who advance only when motivation happens to appear. The master knows that waiting for the right feeling is a trap that leads nowhere. They train themselves to show up, to give their best, to hold the line, especially when every part of them cries out for rest. This is where true strength is forged. Not in the moments when effort feels effortless, but in the hours when every step requires an act of will. They train themselves to recognize resistance as a signal to push forward, not a permission to retreat. They understand that the voice urging them to stop is the very voice they must learn to ignore. Routine becomes their shield, protecting their ambitions from the storms of doubt and fatigue. When motivation abandons them, routine carries them forward. When enthusiasm fades, routine maintains their course. When the world offers endless distractions and temptations, routine keeps them anchored to their purpose. This shield does not prevent the storms from coming. It ensures that when they arrive, they find someone prepared to weather them without wavering. Every day you honor your commitments to yourself, you hammer another plate into this armor. Each promise kept adds to its strength. Each morning you rise when you said you would. Each task you complete when you promised you would. Each standard you maintain when lowering it would go unnoticed. All of these become part of the protection you wear. This armor is invisible to others, but you feel its weight and its power. It becomes easier to move forward, harder to quit, impossible to be swayed by passing weakness. The routine that once required conscious effort becomes second nature. The discipline that once demanded willpower becomes identity. You no longer have to decide whether to show up. Showing up is simply who you are. The armor has become part of you, inseparable from your character. Over time, this relentless order shapes not just your habits, but your destiny. The small daily choices compound into transformations you could never have achieved through sporadic bursts of effort. The person who maintains routine through months and years becomes fundamentally different from the person who started. They have not just built habits, they have built themselves. They have forged an identity that cannot be shaken by circumstance, cannot be derailed by difficulty, cannot be defeated by doubt. Discipline is the armor of champions, and those who wear it walk through the world knowing that no obstacle can penetrate what they have built through relentless, unwavering commitment to their own becoming. Conquer the quiet hours. The world is loud, but greatness grows in silence. Amid the noise and chaos of daily existence, there exists a hidden realm where extraordinary lives are shaped. The clamor of obligations, the demands of others, the endless stream of distractions, these fill our waking hours and steal our attention. Yet beneath this noise lies something precious, something most never learn to claim. Early mornings, late nights, the spaces between duties, these are the quiet hours when true transformation happens. These are the moments suspended between the world's demands, the gaps in the day when no one calls your name and no obligation pulls at your sleeve. In this stillness, away from the eyes of others and the expectations they carry, you meet yourself without pretense. Most waste these moments, filling them with distraction or rest. They reach for their devices, scroll through endless streams of meaningless content, or surrender to sleep they do not truly need. They treat these hours as empty space to be filled with noise or escaped through unconsciousness. They do not recognize the treasure they hold in their hands, the opportunity they let slip through their fingers day after day. The few who rise take ownership of this silent time. They understand that these quiet hours are not empty, but pregnant with possibility. They see what others cannot, that the moments the world ignores are precisely the moments that matter most. Conquering the quiet hours means turning solitude into your ally. It means transforming the silence that others flee into the forge where your future self is shaped. Where most see emptiness, the wise see opportunity. Where most feel loneliness, the disciplined find freedom. It is using the stillness to sharpen your mind, to plan, to train, to reflect. In these hours, you can think without interruption, work without distraction, and grow without the weight of others' opinions pressing upon you. The silence becomes a canvas upon which you paint the person you are becoming. Here, you can examine your weaknesses honestly, confront your fears directly, and strengthen the parts of yourself that need attention. This is when you prepare for the challenges ahead, when you build the foundation that others cannot see. While the world sleeps, you lay the groundwork for victories that will seem to arrive from nowhere. While others drift through their quiet moments, you construct advantages that compound over time. The preparation done in darkness determines the performance delivered in light. Those who rule their quiet hours emerge ready, focused, and miles ahead of those who let the time slip away. They step into each day already victorious, having won battles before the sun rose. They face challenges with calm confidence because they have rehearsed, planned, and prepared in the sacred silence. They possess a readiness that others cannot match because others never invested in the hours that created it. The gap between those who conquer the quiet hours and those who waste them grows wider with each passing day, each passing week, each passing year. In these moments, you have a choice: to drift aimlessly or to build quietly and relentlessly. This choice presents itself each morning before the world wakes, each evening after it settles, each pocket of silence that appears throughout your day. No one will make this choice for you. No one will hold you accountable for how you spend these hidden hours. The decision is yours alone, made in private, witnessed only by your own conscience. You can choose comfort or you can choose growth. You can choose distraction or you can choose discipline. You can choose to let these precious moments pass unmarked, or you can claim them as the territory where your transformation unfolds. The world will only see the results. It will witness your achievements without understanding their source. It will observe your readiness without knowing how it was forged. It will marvel at your growth without seeing the countless quiet hours that created it. Others will call you lucky, gifted, or naturally talented, never knowing the truth of the silent work that made you who you are. But you will know the truth you won because you conquered what others ignored. You will carry this knowledge as a secret strength, an understanding that your success was not given but earned in the hours no one else was willing to claim. You will know that while the world slept and scrolled and drifted, you were building something extraordinary in the silence. Conquer the quiet hours, and you conquer the path to greatness itself. Silence the voice of excuse. Excuses are the seeds of regret. They are planted in moments of weakness and grow into forests of unfulfilled potential. What begins as a single justification becomes a pattern, and what becomes a pattern transforms into a life defined by what could have been rather than what was achieved. Every time we give in to them, we trade a piece of our future for the comfort of the present. This trade seems small in the moment, a minor compromise, a reasonable delay, a justified retreat. But these small trades accumulate into devastating losses. The future self who could have existed is slowly erased, one excuse at a time, replaced by a diminished version content with less than what was possible. The mind is skilled at crafting reasons to delay, to avoid, to settle. It has perfected this craft over years of practice, learning exactly which arguments will prove most convincing, which justifications will meet the least resistance. The mind knows your weaknesses and exploits them with precision. It whispers, "Tomorrow is better. It's not your fault. You've done enough." These words arrive disguised as wisdom, as self-compassion, as reasonable assessment of circumstances. They feel like the voice of a friend offering comfort in difficult moments. But these are lies meant to keep you where you are. They are not protection, they are imprisonment. They are not kindness, they are sabotage. Every excuse accepted is a chain forged, another link binding you to a life smaller than the one you were meant to live. To force yourself to win, you must silence this inner saboteur. You must recognize it for what it is, an enemy wearing the mask of an ally, a destroyer pretending to be a protector. This voice does not have your best interests at heart. It serves only the desire for comfort, for safety, for the familiar. Defeating it requires vigilance and relentless honesty with yourself. Catch each excuse as it forms. Do not let it fully materialize before you challenge it. The moment you feel the familiar pull toward justification, the instant you sense the beginning of a reason to retreat, you must act. Awareness is the first weapon against this enemy. When you see the excuse forming, you rob it of the power that comes from operating undetected. Expose its weakness. Hold each excuse up to the light of truth and examine it honestly. Ask yourself whether this reason is valid or merely convenient. Question whether you are facing a genuine obstacle or simply avoiding discomfort. Most excuses crumble under honest examination. They are built on nothing more substantial than the desire to avoid effort. Replace "I can't" with "I will." Transform the language of limitation into the language of commitment. The words we speak to ourselves shape the actions we take. When you change your inner dialogue, you change your destiny. Replace "not now" with "now." Refuse to give the excuse even the small victory of delay. The present moment is the only moment you truly possess. Tomorrow's action is a promise easily broken, but today's action is a fact that cannot be undone. Each time you override an excuse with action, you weaken its hold. The voice grows quieter with each defeat. The excuses come less frequently when they learn they will not be accepted. Over time, it falls silent, drowned out by the voice of determination. What once seemed like an undefeatable enemy is revealed as nothing more than a habit, and habits can be broken by those with the will to break them. Excuses may feel safe, but they are the bars of an invisible cage. They create the illusion of protection while ensuring you never escape the prison of your own limitations. Each excuse accepted adds another bar, until eventually you find yourself surrounded, unable to move in any direction, wondering how you became so confined. The cage is of your own construction, built with the materials of your own justifications. Only by rejecting them, again and again, do you find freedom. This rejection must become automatic, instinctive, a reflex that requires no thought. Every excuse must be met with immediate resistance, every justification challenged before it can take root. Freedom is not found in a single dramatic rejection, but in the accumulated power of countless small refusals to accept the easy path. The ones who win are not those with the fewest obstacles, but those with the fewest excuses. They face the same difficulties, the same setbacks, the same moments of doubt and fatigue. The difference lies not in their circumstances, but in their response to those circumstances. Where others find reasons to stop, they find reasons to continue. Where others see justification for retreat, they see opportunity for advance. Make a promise to yourself. The only voice you obey is the one that pushes you forward. Commit to this promise as the foundation of everything you seek to achieve. Let no excuse pass unchallenged, no justification go unexamined, no comfortable lie go unexposed. Silence the voice of excuse, and you will discover a strength you never knew you possessed. Persist when others rest. When the world slows, when others pause, when comfort beckons, this is your opportunity. These are the moments that separate the extraordinary from the ordinary, the memorable from the forgotten. While most see the end of effort as a signal to stop, the relentless see it as the beginning of their true advantage. The hours when others retreat are the hours when you advance. The moments when the crowd disperses are the moments when you claim ground that cannot be taken back. Most people do what is required, then stop. They meet the minimum standard and consider their duty fulfilled. They complete what is asked of them and believe they have done enough. Their effort ends precisely where expectation ends, never extending a single step beyond what others demand of them. They rest on small victories, content to move with the herd. They celebrate accomplishments that barely distinguish them from anyone else. They find satisfaction in achievements that required nothing more than showing up and doing what everyone else was willing to do. The comfort of the crowd becomes their ceiling, the average their aspiration. But excellence is never found in the common path. It does not wait at destinations everyone can reach. It is not discovered in the places where the masses gather, satisfied with their modest gains. Excellence lives beyond the point where most turn back. It resides in the territory that only the persistent ever see, in the hours that only the relentless ever claim. The common path leads only to common results, and those who walk it will never know what lay just beyond the point where they chose to stop. Persistence is the weapon of the relentless. It is the tool that cuts through obstacles others believe insurmountable. It is the force that turns impossibility into inevitability through the sheer accumulation of continued effort. While talent opens doors, persistence walks through them and keeps walking long after others have stopped. It is the choice to keep going, one more step, one more attempt, when fatigue and comfort pull at you. This choice must be made fresh each time weariness arrives, each time the body begs for rest, each time the mind offers reasonable arguments for stopping. It is never made once and finished it is made. Again and again, in every moment, when quitting would be easier than continuing. The persistent understand that this choice is the only thing that truly separates them from those who never reach their potential. Each extra hour, each extra effort is an investment that sets you apart. These investments compound over time in ways that are invisible at first but become undeniable eventually. The extra hour today becomes the extra advantage tomorrow. The additional effort this week becomes the decisive edge next month. While others rest, you build. While others pause, you progress. While others celebrate stopping, you celebrate continuing. The world forgets those who settle for enough. It has no memory for those who did only what was required, who stopped precisely when stopping was permitted, who rested the moment rest was acceptable. History does not record the names of those who were satisfied with sufficiency. It remembers the few who persist when the rest fall away. It honors those who remained standing when the crowd dispersed, who kept moving when the path emptied, who refused to accept any finish line except the one they set for themselves. These are the names that echo through time, not because they were born with more, but because they demanded more of themselves than anyone else was willing to give. Every day, you must ask yourself, am I willing to go further than most? This question deserves an honest answer, stripped of comfortable illusions and flattering self-deceptions. It is easy to believe you are willing when the test has not yet arrived. It is simple to claim commitment when commitment has not yet been demanded. But the truth emerges only in the moments when going further actually costs something, when persistence requires sacrifice, when continuing means enduring what others are unwilling to endure. Am I willing to endure longer, to work harder, to keep moving when others stop? These are not questions answered with words, but with actions. They are answered in the quiet hours when no one is watching, in the difficult moments when quitting would go unnoticed, in the spaces between what is required and what is possible. Your answer is written not in your intentions, but in your choices, not in your promises, but in your persistence. Those who answer yes carve their names into history, not because they were the most talented, but because they refused to rest when the race was not yet won. Talent without persistence fades into obscurity. Ability without endurance becomes nothing more than wasted potential. But persistence transforms ordinary gifts into extraordinary achievements. It takes what nature provided and multiplies it through relentless application. The persistent may not start ahead, but they finish ahead because they never accept any stopping point that others choose for them. They define their own finish line and refuse to rest until they cross it. Persist when others rest, and you will achieve what others only dream of. Continue when the world pauses, and you will arrive at destinations the crowd will never see. This is the path of the relentless, and it belongs to all who refuse to stop before their race is truly run. Find power in routine. Routine is the quiet architect of greatness. It works without fanfare, without dramatic announcements, without the recognition that flashier approaches receive. While the world celebrates breakthrough moments and sudden transformations, routine labors in silence, constructing something far more enduring than any single achievement could provide. It is the invisible hand that shapes days into weeks, weeks into months, and months into the person you are destined to become. In the rhythm of repeated action, we find freedom from chaos and the strength to achieve what others cannot. This rhythm becomes the heartbeat of an intentional life, the steady pulse that carries you forward regardless of circumstance. Within this repetition lies a power that most never discover, the power to transcend the limitations of willpower alone, to move beyond the unreliable fuel of motivation, to build something that sustains itself through the darkest hours. While most chase novelty, looking for the next secret, the wise build their days upon a steady foundation. The masses search endlessly for shortcuts, for hidden techniques, for the revolutionary approach that will transform everything overnight. They leap from method to method, strategy to strategy, always believing the answer lies somewhere they have not yet looked. But the wise understand that the secret has never been hidden, it has simply been too ordinary for most to accept. The power lies not in what is new, but in what is repeated, not in what is exciting, but in what is consistent. The steady foundation built through routine outlasts every passing trend, every popular technique, every promise of effortless transformation. Each small task, each daily habit, becomes a stone in the fortress of your character. These stones may seem insignificant when laid individually, a morning ritual here, an evening practice there, a commitment honored when no one was watching. But stone by stone, the fortress rises. What began as scattered acts of discipline becomes an impenetrable structure, a character so solidly constructed that no external force can breach its walls. The fortress is not built in dramatic moments of heroic effort, but in the quiet accumulation of ordinary choices made extraordinary through repetition. Over time, these acts compound, turning effort into ease and discipline into destiny. What once required conscious struggle becomes second nature. What once demanded willpower becomes automatic. The effort you invested in establishing the routine returns to you multiplied, as actions that once cost energy now generate it. This is the miracle of compounding that most never witness, because they abandon their routines before the transformation can occur. They quit just before the effort would have become ease, just before the struggle would have become strength. Routine does not stifle you. It releases you from uncertainty, allowing focus and mastery to grow. This is the paradox that those who fear routine never understand. They see structure as a cage, repetition as monotony, consistency as the enemy of freedom. But the truth is precisely the opposite. Without routine, you are enslaved to the chaos of each moment, forced to make endless decisions that drain your energy and scatter your attention. With routine, these decisions are made once and honored always, freeing your mind for the work that truly matters. The structure creates space for creativity. The repetition enables depth. The consistency allows mastery to develop in ways that scattered effort never could. Focus grows in the soil of routine like a plant grows in fertile ground, steadily, surely, inevitably reaching toward the light. Those who win do not rely on chance or mood. They have learned that these are foundations of sand, shifting with every passing breeze, offering no stability upon which lasting achievement can be built. They have watched others rise on the wings of motivation, only to fall when that motivation inevitably faded. They have seen talented individuals squander their gifts because they trusted in feeling rather than in structure. They build a system, a cadence, a way of being that guides them even when motivation is absent. This system becomes their compass when confusion would otherwise lead them astray. This cadence becomes their rhythm when chaos would otherwise disrupt their progress. This way of being becomes their identity, something deeper than any temporary emotional state, something that persists when enthusiasm wanes and energy depletes. The system does not depend on feeling good, it creates feeling good through the satisfaction of consistent action. Through routine, you create an inner world that stands firm, no matter how the outside shifts. This inner world becomes your sanctuary, your source of stability in an unstable existence. External circumstances may change without warning, relationships may falter, economies may collapse, health may decline, plans may crumble, but the inner world built through routine remains unshaken. It is yours alone, constructed by your own hands through your own repeated choices, and nothing external can take it from you. When the world is chaos, your habits hold you upright. They become the skeleton that supports you when everything else falls away, the structure that maintains your form when pressure would otherwise crush you. Your habits carry you through the storms that destroy those who built their lives on nothing more substantial than hope and circumstance. Find power in routine, and you will discover an unshakable foundation upon which any dream can be built, any obstacle can be overcome, and any destiny can be claimed. Endure without applause. The world seldom cheers for the hard work done in darkness. It reserves its accolades for visible triumphs, for moments that can be captured and displayed, for achievements that announce themselves with undeniable fanfare. The quiet labor that precedes these moments goes unnoticed, unremarked, unrewarded. The hours of solitary effort that make success possible are invisible to those who only appear when victory is assured. The world gathers to celebrate conclusions, but ignores the countless beginnings that made those conclusions possible. Many crave recognition and let the absence of applause drain their will. They work with one eye on their task and another on the audience they hope is watching. When that audience fails to materialize, when the recognition they expected never arrives, their motivation withers. They mistake silence for rejection, interpreting the world's indifference as evidence that their efforts lack value. This craving for external validation becomes a chain that binds them to the opinions of others, making their persistence dependent on praise they cannot control. But those who truly win have learned to find satisfaction in their own progress. They have discovered a source of motivation that lies entirely within their own grasp. They measure their worth not by the applause they receive, but by the effort they give, not by the recognition they earn, but by the standards they maintain. This internal compass guides them through the silence that breaks others. They do not rely on cheers or validation. They draw strength from the quiet knowledge that they did not give up. This knowledge becomes their reward, a treasure more valuable than any external recognition because it cannot be taken away, cannot be diminished by criticism, cannot be rendered meaningless by the opinions of those who never witnessed the struggle. The satisfaction of persisting when no one was watching becomes its own form of victory. Enduring without applause means continuing when no one is watching, no one is praising, no one is encouraging. It means rising each morning to face the same challenges, to repeat the same efforts, to maintain the same standards, all without the fuel of external recognition. It means finding within yourself the motivation that others seek from the world, becoming your own source of the encouragement that keeps you moving forward. This is perhaps the greatest test of commitment. Can you continue when continuation brings no immediate reward, no visible progress, no acknowledgement from anyone but yourself? It means finding meaning in the struggle itself, not in the recognition that may or may not follow. The struggle becomes its own purpose, the effort its own reward. When you learn to find meaning in the process rather than the outcome, you free yourself from dependence on results you cannot control. You discover that the work itself contains everything you need, the satisfaction of giving your best, the growth that comes from pushing your limits, the quiet pride of knowing you did not surrender to comfort when comfort was the easier choice. This shift in perspective transforms everything. The absence of applause no longer feels like rejection, but like freedom. Freedom to work without the burden of expectation, to grow without the pressure of observation, to become without the distortion of performance. The deepest victories are often invisible, unheralded, but they matter most. They are the victories won in the quiet hours, in the private struggles, in the moments when giving up would have been so easy and no one would have known the difference. These victories build the foundation upon which all visible achievements rest. They are the roots that no one sees, but without which no tree could stand. The applause that the world offers celebrates only the flower, never the seed, never the soil, never the patient years of growth that made the blossom possible. But those who understand know that the invisible victories are the real victories, the ones that shape character and determine destiny. Do not wait for others to celebrate you. This waiting is a trap that has ensnared countless souls who possessed every gift except the ability to validate themselves. They stood ready to achieve great things, needing only the permission of others to begin permission that never came, recognition that never arrived, applause that remained forever silent. Do not join their ranks. Do not surrender your progress to the indifference of a world that may never notice your efforts. Celebrate your own persistence. Become the audience you wish you had. Learn to recognize your own victories, to acknowledge your own growth, to appreciate your own refusal to surrender. This self-celebration is not arrogance, it is survival. It is the recognition that if you cannot find value in your own efforts, you will forever be at the mercy of those who may never offer the validation you seek. Each time you keep moving in the silence, you add to a quiet legacy that no crowd can give and no critic can take away. This legacy grows with every choice to continue, with every morning you rise to face the struggle again, with every moment you persist when persistence brings no external reward. It is a legacy written in the language of action, authored by your own hands, readable only by your own conscience. No one can diminish it with their indifference. No one can erase it with their criticism. It belongs to you alone, the record of who you were when no one was watching. In the end, it is not the applause that makes you great, but your willingness to keep going when the world is silent. Greatness is not conferred by crowds. It is built in solitude, earned in silence, forged in the furnace of unwitnessed effort. The applause, if it ever comes, is merely confirmation of what was already true. But even if it never comes, you will know what you accomplished. You will carry the quiet satisfaction of having endured without applause, and that knowledge will be worth more than any standing ovation the world could ever offer. Endure without applause, and you will become something that no amount of recognition could ever create. Turn pain into progress. Pain is an inevitable companion on any path worth walking. It arrives uninvited, unwelcome, yet unavoidable for anyone who dares to pursue something greater than comfort. No meaningful journey exists without it. No significant achievement is won without passing through its fires. Those who expect to grow without suffering expect to harvest without planting, to arrive without traveling, to triumph without struggle. Pain is woven into the fabric of every worthy pursuit, inseparable from the very goals that give life meaning. Most shrink from it, seek to numb it, or let it break their stride. They treat pain as an enemy to be avoided at all costs, restructuring their entire lives around its prevention. They choose smaller dreams because larger ones carry larger risks of suffering. They abandon promising paths the moment discomfort appears, interpreting pain as a signal that they have chosen wrongly. They reach for distractions, for substances, for anything that promises temporary relief from the ache that growth demands. In doing so, they trade their potential for the illusion of safety, never realizing that the pain they flee is the very forge that would have shaped them into something extraordinary. But the few who rise to the top have learned a different lesson. Pain is not the end, it is a tool. They have discovered what the masses never learn, that suffering contains within it the seeds of transformation. They approach pain not as a punishment to be endured, but as a resource to be utilized. They understand that the same fire that destroys the unprepared tempers the steel of those who know how to use it. This wisdom separates those who are shaped by their circumstances from those who shape themselves through their circumstances. Turning pain into progress means using every hardship as fuel. It means refusing to let any difficulty pass without extracting from it everything it has to offer. The energy of suffering, the anger, the frustration, the desperate longing for things to be different, all of this can be channeled into forward motion. What threatens to destroy you can instead propel you if only you learn to redirect its force. It is refusing to let suffering be wasted. This is perhaps the greatest tragedy of those who merely endure their pain. Without learning from it, they bear the full weight of the burden but receive none of the benefit. They suffer without growing, hurt without healing, fall without rising stronger. Their pain accomplishes nothing except to drain them of energy and hope, but it does not have to be this way. Every moment of suffering can be transformed into a moment of education if we approach it with the right intention. When life wounds you, study the lesson. Ask not only why this happened, but what it reveals. Examine the wound not with self pity, but with curiosity. What weakness did it expose? What strength must you now develop? What truth about yourself or the world has been revealed through this experience? The answers to these questions are worth more than the comfort you lost. When you fall, rise with a new understanding. Do not simply return to your feet and continue as before, that is to waste the fall entirely. Instead, let each collapse become a classroom. Let every failure teach you something that success never could. The ground you meet when you fall offers perspectives unavailable from any height. Use this enforced pause to see what you could not see while standing, to learn what you could not learn while moving. Each scar is proof not of defeat, but of survival and adaptation. Your scars tell the story of battles you did not lose, for if you had truly lost, you would not be here to bear them. They are evidence of your resilience, your refusal to be destroyed by forces that have destroyed others. Wear them not with shame, but with the quiet pride of one who has faced the worst and emerged transformed. Those who make pain their teacher discover reserves of strength they never knew existed. These reserves remain hidden until suffering calls them forth, lying dormant in those who never face adversity serious enough to require their awakening. Pain becomes the key that unlocks chambers of capability that comfort could never reach. It strips away illusions of limitation, revealing the vast territory of potential that lies beyond what we believed were our boundaries. They become immune to fear, knowing that nothing the world throws at them can break what has already been rebuilt, stronger than before. Fear loses its power over those who have already faced their greatest fears and survived. The threats that paralyze others become familiar obstacles to those who have already walked through fire. When you have been broken and have rebuilt yourself, you know something that the untested can never know. You can survive what once seemed unsurvivable. You can endure what once seemed unendurable. This knowledge becomes armor that no weapon can pierce. Progress comes not in comfort, but in the way you respond when comfort is gone. Comfort teaches nothing. It confirms what you already knew, strengthens only what was already strong, reveals nothing new about your potential. But when comfort is stripped away, when you are left with nothing but your will and the pain that tests it, this is when true progress becomes possible. This is when you discover who you really are and what you are truly capable of becoming. Your response to the absence of comfort defines your destiny far more than your behavior in its presence ever could. Welcome the lessons pain brings, and let them shape you into someone the world cannot hold back. Do not flee from these teachings. Do not numb yourself to their message. Do not waste the education that only suffering can provide. Embrace pain as the harsh but honest teacher it is. Let it sculpt you, refine you, strengthen you. Turn every wound into wisdom, every setback into fuel, every fall into a foundation for rising higher than before. This is how pain becomes progress, not through mere endurance, but through intentional transformation. Master this alchemy, and you will become unstoppable. Stay unmoved by criticism. Every pursuit worth undertaking attracts critics. This is as certain as the sunrise, as predictable as the changing seasons. The moment you step beyond the boundaries of the ordinary, the moment you declare through your actions that you seek something more than what the masses settle for, voices will rise in opposition. Some will doubt your abilities. Others will question your motives. Many will simply resent the mirror your ambition holds up to their own complacency. Criticism is not a sign that you have chosen wrongly. It is confirmation that you have chosen to matter. Those who attempt nothing significant attract no critics because they present no threat to anyone's comfort. Every pursuit worth undertaking attracts critics because every pursuit worth undertaking challenges the assumptions of those content with less. Most people shrink at the first harsh word, allowing the opinions of others to dictate their self-worth. They measure themselves not by their own standards, but by the approval or disapproval of voices outside themselves. A single criticism can undo months of progress for those who have built their identity on the fragile foundation of others' acceptance. They retreat at the first sign of opposition, abandoning their path not because it was wrong, but because continuing it requires courage they have not yet developed. Their sensitivity to criticism becomes a cage that keeps them forever small, forever safe, forever ordinary. But greatness is never found in the approval of the crowd. The crowd celebrates what it understands, honors what makes it comfortable, applauds what confirms its existing beliefs. Greatness, by its very nature, transcends these limitations. It ventures into territory the crowd has never explored and returns with treasures the crowd cannot immediately recognize. It is forged by those who stay unmoved, who hold fast to their purpose despite the noise. These individuals have discovered a truth that liberates them from the tyranny of opinion, that their worth was never determined by external voices and never will be. They stand firm, not because criticism does not reach them, but because it cannot penetrate the armor of their conviction. Criticism can sting, but only if you let it enter your heart. The words of others possess only the power you grant them. They arrive at the gates of your inner world seeking admission, and you alone hold the key. You can open the door and allow them to wander freely through your most sacred spaces, disrupting your peace and undermining your confidence. Or you can examine them at the threshold, take what serves you, and refuse entry to the rest. This choice is always yours, though many never realize they possess it. Listen to what is useful, let it refine you, but discard the rest. Not all criticism is created equal. Some comes from those who have walked the path you walk, who understand its challenges, and offer wisdom born of experience. This criticism, even when painful, carries the potential for growth. Receive it with gratitude, examine it with honesty, and let it sharpen you. But much criticism comes from those who have never attempted what you attempt, who speak from ignorance or envy or the simple discomfort of watching someone pursue what they themselves were too afraid to chase. This criticism deserves no residence in your mind. Acknowledge it, release it, and continue forward unburdened. The world will always have opinions. This is the nature of human society. Every action observed will be judged. Every ambition